You're listening to The Brand Cure. I'm your host, Ashley Chimey, and I'm here to help you embrace your vision, tell your story, and build your one-of-a-kind brand so you can thrive by being you and leave your mark on the world. Welcome back to The Brand Cure. This is episode 4. In this episode, we're going to cover making your brand word of mouth friendly or explainable for your customer. But before we get into that, I just want to say thank you to everyone who has been listening to the podcast, everyone who has reached out to me or shouted out the podcast on social media, or even gotten their friends or family members listening. I honestly can't thank you enough for all of the kind words. Just the first wave of feedback has been so validating and nothing short of a dream come true. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Now, like I said, we're going to talk in this episode about making your brand word of mouth friendly. I do have a free download included with this episode to help you apply what we're covering. So make sure to listen through the end because I'll share the link at the end of the episode. So what does a word of mouth friendly brand look like? Here are a few examples. Have you heard about Stitch Fix? You tell them your style and they send you cute clothes to try. Have you heard about B-School? It's a course that teaches you the basics of building and running an online business. Have you heard about the How to Fail podcast? It's a podcast that takes an honest look at failure. And we can also draw inspiration from log lines for movies and TV shows. A young couple falls in love on a sinking ship. An orphan living with a horrible family discovers he's a wizard and he's whisked away to a magical boarding school for witches and wizards. The world is taken over by zombies and a group of average people has to learn to survive. Did those sound familiar? Those are Titanic, Harry Potter, and The Walking Dead. So these are all examples of compelling and interesting ways to talk about a company, or in some of these examples, a movie or a TV show. But why does it matter for your business? I want to explain some of the reasons that it's so important to have a word-of-mouth friendly brand. The first reason it matters is that when you tell someone about what you do, the person you're telling should be able to walk away with a clear story to tuck away in their brain for future reference. They may or may not tell other people, but if they don't walk away with a clear message and a story to tell themselves about you, they won't be able to mentally find you when they need you. The second reason is that whether you're telling one person or a group of people, you have an opportunity. That one person or that small group represents a much larger group, everyone they know who may be interested in what you're doing. Word of mouth is powerful. We trust the people that we know to have good recommendations. And we know that the people around us who know us best are in the best position to tell us about things that we are going to be interested in. I can ignore an ad or a freebie or an impressive website or a testimonial from a stranger, but it is much harder to ignore a positive referral from someone I trust, who knows me and knows what I like. We all trust the people we trust. In other words, a friend of yours is a friend of mine. That one person you're telling represents everyone they know. And that one person can tell 5 people, and those 5 people can tell 25, and so on. This is basic word of mouth marketing, and it's also kind of like going viral. I'm not talking here about putting a button on your website that lets people quickly share you with their network, or trying to get retweets, or trying to get people to push a product that you're selling. What I'm talking about is giving people something that they're excited to share. That moment when you find a ridiculous cat video and you can't wait to send it to your best friends. Or when you're talking to a client and you make a book recommendation that you're really excited about. So when I talk about word of mouth marketing, I'm really talking about sharing that comes from a place of genuine enthusiasm and excitement, whether it's about a book or a movie or an influencer or a service or a product. Whatever it is that you're offering, you want what you're telling people about to be something that they're genuinely excited about and that they want to share with the people around them. So those are the first 2 reasons why this is important. Telling people a shareable story makes it easy for them to remember you, and it makes it easy for them to tell their friends about you, or their clients about you, or their boss about you. The third reason is that Making your brand word of mouth friendly forces you to get clear about your own story so that you can share it in your own marketing and the way that you present yourself. Your message should work on a person-to-person level first. And if you can tell a story or convey a message about what you're doing that people can understand and are willing to share it with someone they know, that they remember and they know how to explain, that message is going to make your marketing so much more effective. So let's look at some of the signs of a word of mouth friendly brand. The first sign is that it's a story people want to tell. You want to give people a story that they're eager to share with the people around them, because we're all constantly looking for cool stuff to tell our friends and our network about. We want to be the ones with the inside scoop about what's new, cool, and useful. Hey, have you heard about this new band? Have you checked out this website? Have you seen this video? It feels good to tell someone about something and have them show interest and be captivated and engaged. It feels good to know about the next big thing or even the next little thing. But we need a hook. We need a story that people find interesting, or else we're not going to be motivated to share it. So first of all, your story has to be worth sharing. It needs to be relevant to the needs of the listener and be unique and something they haven't heard before. So if I walked up to you and said, "Oh my gosh, you have to try this new restaurant. They serve pizza." And you said, "Well, that's nothing new. I've had pizza before. How is this place different? Why should I care?" I might say, "Okay, you should try this place because they serve pizza with really unique toppings like dried cranberries and pumpkin." And at that point, you might say, "Okay, I get it now. It's unique. I haven't heard of that before. Yeah, let's totally go right now." I've told you something that's relevant to you because you like pizza, and that's unique and you haven't heard before because this pizza has really unique toppings. And so that's my hook. And it feels good to me when you say, "Yeah, let's totally go." So you need to start with a story that has some kind of hook that people find interesting, that they want to have the inside scoop on. Second, you have to have a story that people know how to tell. People need a story that's easy to share, that's easy to explain. Here's an example. Imagine that you meet an inventor who tells you about her new product. And you listen to her and you're not really following exactly what she's saying. It sounds complicated. You keep waiting for her to say some simple phrase or sentence to help you peg down what this thing is and understand it. Maybe she says something like, "My product reproduces audio from compressed files and amplifies the sound through two matching high-quality in-ear speakers at a volume audible only to the listener." And you say, "What?" So you take the device and you look it over and you play around with it. You start to see how it works and you walk up to your friend and say, "Hey, you can listen to music with this thing and it's super tiny so you can take it anywhere." And your friend looks at the device and immediately sees herself in the story of taking her music with her anywhere. And yeah, that sounds pretty cool. But the inventor really needs to explain it in the way that you did, in simple language that really gets across why this thing is relevant to this person. Even if I have something really, really cool to tell you about, if I can't find the words to put around it, to articulate it in a way that is going to make sense to you, I'm probably not even going to bother. If you've ever tried telling a friend about your favorite band and struggled to really convey and articulate why you loved it so much and why this person should check it out, even if you believe in the band, you see that look in their eyes that tells you, okay, this person is not getting it and they're not going to look it up. And that doesn't feel very good. And if you can avoid that feeling, you're probably going to. So those are the first two criteria. You need a story that people want to tell and a story that they are able to tell. Lastly, you need a story that you want people to tell. So your customer's motivated and able to tell people about you in a way that gets their attention. But is what they're saying what you want? Because here's the thing, people may already be telling a story about you to each other. And that story is your opportunity to shape your brand in the direction that you want to go, because it's going to determine who hears about you and who comes your way to check you out. I've said before on this podcast that your brand is kind of like the rudder of your business. You can use it to steer your business in the direction you want it to go. It determines who you attract to your business, what kinds of opportunities come your way, what kinds of media coverage you get. And you want to be the one steering the ship and telling the story, or at least be involved in shaping it. You may have heard before, Jeff Bezos, the CEO of Amazon, says your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. And that's true, but you should get to have a say in what that is if you want to build a business you love. So you want to be sure that the story people are getting from your brand and telling their friends is actually the story you want told about you. So those are the 3 criteria for a word-of-mouth friendly brand. Now that we've taken a look at what makes a brand really word-of-mouth friendly, let's tackle how to actually apply this to your business and your brand. If you're already 100% certain that your customer has a really cool hook for talking about you and that they know how to articulate it and that it's the story that you want to be told about you, then you don't need to listen to the rest of this episode. But for everyone else, let's dive into a process you can use to apply this in your business. This is a pretty simple process, but it's also outlined in the download if you want to grab that at the end of the episode. So the first thing you want to do is think about what you really, really want people to be saying about you. If you could have any kind of word of mouth buzz about you and your brand and your business, what would you want it to be? What would you love for people to be saying about you? Then find out where you are in relation to that. Ask 4 or 5 friends or peers how they would describe you to someone else. Listen to the story and then ask yourself if it lives up to the criteria for a word-of-mouth friendly brand. Is it a story that they want to tell? Is it a story they're excited about? Does it need to be more compelling, more relevant, or more unique? Is it a story they can easily explain? Is it easy for them to articulate what they want to say and for you to understand what they're saying? Or does it need to be simpler, crisper, and easier to explain and understand quickly? It may be that this person is getting a little confused, especially if you're trying to pack too much information and too many different things into your core messaging. And then lastly, is this the story that you really want to be told about you, or does it need to be more in alignment with who you are and what you want to build? Once you have a good idea of how you'd really like the story people are telling to be different, ask yourself, how do I bridge that gap? I know what I really want people to be saying about me, and now I know what they are saying about me, and I know what the difference between the two is. So what do I need to do differently to make that happen? It may be a matter of pivoting your business, of making some adjustment to the way that you're operating your business. Let's say that you really would love people to be talking about what an amazing one-on-one coach you are, but because you have been focusing on group programs for the past year, that's the story that your customer is telling. So you may need to make some adjustments in how you're doing business to earn the story that you want. Or it may be a matter of adjusting your messaging or your marketing, how you talk about what you do, the copy on your website, and the way that you explain and articulate what you're all about and what you have to offer. It may be a matter of giving people a more compelling story, or reducing friction and confusion in your message and simplifying it so that the main story that you want people to walk away with really jumps out at people. But the important thing to know is that this is just part of the process of building a brand. Even if your brand story people are telling about you is off in every single respect, now you know it, and you can take steps to move your word-of-mouth story in the direction you really want it to go. This is just how branding works. It's iterative, and you do research and you figure out what's working and what's not, and you make adjustments. So in honor of this episode, I think I'll wrap up with a mini story that I tell myself about the Brand Cure. The Brand Cure podcast helps you think about your brand in new ways and use branding to get better results in your life or business. And it's also fun and encouraging to listen to. What do you think? Am I hitting that mark? How would you describe the Brand Cure? Maybe you describe it differently, but that's the story in my head, and it helps me organize everything I'm doing, the feel of the show, the episode topics, how I approach them, the words that I use, and it helps me give you a cohesive experience that's focused around a single idea. So hopefully I'm showing you a story that's worth sharing and that's easy to share so that you can and want to share it with your friends and your network. So I hope this episode helped you get a little more clear, or at least start thinking about how you can make your brand more word of mouth friendly. Because when you know your story and you know what story you're giving people to tell about you, you're making yourself more shareable and at the same time more memorable. This process also helps you get more clear about yourself and be more intentional in how you're showing up and the message you're telling people about you. And by giving people that clear, share-worthy story, you make it so much easier to reach more of the people you want to serve and work with and help. Now, like I said, there is a free download included with this episode to help you apply what you've learned. So head over to hellohappen.com/episode 4 and grab the free download. If you enjoyed this episode, please write a review. We're just getting started here at The Brand Cure, and your review will help other people find the podcast who need it. The show is available on iTunes and Google Play, and I'll be adding more platforms in the future. Lastly, I also want to let you know that right now you can get the early bird price on my newest offer called Brand with a Plan. Brand with a Plan is an in-depth video course that walks you through figuring out your brand, creating your message, designing your strategy for building your brand, and creating a streamlined content and marketing plan that builds credibility in your industry and turns leads into sales. So go to hellohappen.com/plan to check out the course and use the promo code EARLYBIRD, that's all one word, all caps, EARLYBIRD, to get the full course for just $297. After October 12th, that early bird price will expire and the final price is going to be $497. So that's $200 off. So be sure to buy before the early bird rate expires on October 12th. That's all for today, my friend. This is Ashley Chimey reminding you that you have something amazing to share with the rest of us. And we want to be the first to tell our friends about you. We're just waiting for you to give us that story. So don't forget to be awesome. I'll see you next time.